back from Coding with Matthew channel. Today we are going to study about Flutter BLoC and the Hive. So what is BLoC and what is Hive? I will show you from very detailed to the clear view. Okay, so this is the default Flutter application. So when we press, it will increase the counter value. So as you see, that my app is widget is Sailor widget, and the UI and the business logic, we can say business logic, which is increment counter method, is written together with the widget. So we don't want that because it's too much confusing, and it is not good for the maintenance in the future for the code base. If it is the code base is larger and larger, there are a lot of business logics like adding to the cart and checkout, and also transition and everything. So that business logic will be a lot. So at this time you are writing adding to the cart method in the UI, and so it's very complicated for the developer and the to maintain the code. That's why BLoC came into to solve that problem. And Hive, so for the Hive, when we fetch a lot of data from the online, sometimes if you want to store the user authenticated data in the local storage, or if you want to store the images in the local storage, so you don't need to fetch the data from all the time from the internet for a specific amount of time, like 5 minutes, and every after 5 minutes we will fetch from the data, but during that 5 minutes we will show the data from the local storage. So that's why we use Hive. And also Hive can store the data like key value. Okay, so let's see the BLoC. BLoC first. So what is the BLoC? Every application has user interface, of course, and in that user interface we may have the event. So that event, what is the event? Let's say if user start open the application, you can say initially state, so that's one of the events. If the user click that button, let's say if I click that button, this is one event. Now the event is trigger, right? The event is happening. If I click, that event is happening. If I click, event is happening. So under the events we have different states. So when we have like fetching API events, so that fetching API event basically have three state, like loading state and loaded state and the error state. If it is loading, we will show loading cycle, cycle loading or something. And then if it is loaded, we have got all the necessary data from the server. At that state is called loaded state. So we have data. And then if we don't have data, like error state, the server return 505 or 500, 404 or 500 code. And at this time we have error state. So this is what we call business logic. Okay, so you are clear to the BLoC. So let's separate first. Before we do the actual API fetching using the BLoC, I will fetch the API from the JSON placeholder. Okay, JSON placeholder, a lot of post list, and I will show in the UI using the BLoC. Okay, this is the data from the API that we are going to fetch with the BLoC. Before I go to that directly, I would like to show you that counter is written in the UI. So I will separate that using the BLoC. Okay, let's do that first. Now in the BLoC package bat.dev, inside here you have very counter 2-bit basic fundamental. So let's do that. I have called extension Flutter Flutter DEB, Flutter dependency management manager or something. So you may install. So if you want to install dependency, you can go installing, and then you can add Flutter BLoC. So for me, I don't want to add like that. It's a lot of step. So I just have to use the dependency extension that I just show you. So dart add dependency, or I think DART.DE PEN, I think might be this one, or I don't know. You can check that. And I use Dart at dependency, then I will say Flutter BLoC. Okay, so it will add a Flutter BLoC under the best.yaml file here. I will delete Hive and Hive Flutter first. So this one, right? So if I delete, I will show you from very beginning. Add dependency, Flutter BLoC. Now it will add it for me here, right here. Okay, perfect. So now under here, I will create the another qubit, right? So for the block, we have like qubit and block. So qubit is very lightweight of the block. Let's say counter, C-O-U-N-T, counter. So we are going to separate the counter, okay? So in here, we have counter qubit and the counter state. Okay, so first of all, I will copy from the example class counter qubit. So let's change our qubit here. Okay, so we have counter qubit. That counter qubit is then the qubit of the block, and then we have like integer value of the state. And then if we press increment method, like we did the same thing in here, okay, it's using set state. It means the state it changed, but in here using the block, we have emit the new state, you know, increasing the value of 1, and if it decrease, we will decrease -1 of the state. Okay, the same thing here. It also you see set state, the state it changed, but okay, now we see we have 2 them, and then I will warp with the block provider. Every block need provider. So if you have a lot of block, what you will do multiple block provider. So when you use multiple block provider, you can create different kinds of block under that block provider. Okay, so I hope you were clear in that state. And then I will use block provider. Let's say I will grab that code. Okay, in the main, we will delete everything. Okay, so in here we will create the material, and then block provider, I will add block provider that we just imported in the best.yaml file. Then I will import another counter qubit under our qubit that we just created here. So we don't need that state for now. I will delete according to the example. Okay, so we will hold only the qubit, and then inside the main we need counter page. That chain is for that block provider, right? So we'll create the statelet counter page here, counter page, and then I will copy that code. I will explain you later what I have done. Okay, so in here, that counter page is statelet widget. Under here, we only have a bar and then body. That body, we need to have block bidder. So every block provider has a block bidder. Okay, so in that block bidder, we will have like block listener or block consumer. And yes, so block listener, block consumer is I will use only right now block bidder, but for the block consumer, if you have like a lot of state, you want to listen, and also if you don't want to change other part of the UI, you should use block consumer. If the listener is you are listening the state of the block, if it something it change, you want to redirect to another page or something, so you can do block listener, something like that. So block bidder is perfect for now. Now we will show the count value of the state from the state in the center. Okay, so I will refresh the page. Now we have like 2 button, floated action button, and we call increment from the counter qubit and decreasement. So that business logic component is now moved into the block qubit. Okay, so that's why it's separated from the UI and under the qubit folder. So it means that we can maintain in the future very clearly. Okay, so let's refresh, and we have to, I think we have to stop the app, and reinstall. So now our app is ready. So as you see, we have two floating bourdon. One is increasing and another one is decreasing. Now as you see, our UI is totally separated from the business logic component of like increasing and decreasing, right? So there is very nice and clean code and very well organized for the future. So let's do the accurate API fetching from that API URL. So first of all, I would like to create the model for that, right? So before we do the model, I will create the folder. Let's say new folder called post, right? So under that post, we will create the new file called post model, okay, dart. So what you can do is you can do another file, okay, called post screen, okay, dart. So now we have a UI screen and model. So another one, I will create the block. Okay, now we have a post block. So I just use that new block using the extension. Okay, if you have the BLoC block extension, this one, you can create the block. Like you don't need to type, you don't need to create all the file, and you don't need to type all the code, because it's the visit stretch out of the block. It will create for you automatically if you use that extension. Okay, so now we have event, state, and block. So in the state, I will create the first I will create the event, right? So when user open the application, it will trigger an event automatically. That's why I will create class post fetch event, right? That one will be trigger automatically. It will extend the post event, right? That event. So there is nothing, we don't need to declare anything inside that event, just an event. And then for that event, like I said, we have three state, like we can say final CLSS class, post loading, right? Fetch loading, it will make more sense. Fetch loading, it will extend post state. Perfect. Now there is also nothing to declare inside that class because it's just a loading state. But after the loading, if it is fetch loaded, we have data. So let's say final CLSS class fetch loaded, right? So it will extend the same post state. So we have to declare the data in here. But before we declare the data, I will leave it like that, and I will say final another one class CLSS class post error, right? Fetch error. Sometimes we may have error, and then it will extend post state as well. So inside here we will have like error message, of course, and we will say string final string error. Okay, error, right? So for that error, we will have a constructor, right? So like I did, we need to return a list of posts, right? So at this time, we need to create the post model, right? That's why I just created the post model here. So let's do class post model. Inside the post model, we will have user ID, title, body. I will show you a title and the body, right? So ID, title, and body. So we will just need to declare three things. So let's say final int ID, and then final string string body, title first, and then final string body. So we need to have a constructor for that. Okay, so now I just created a constructor for that, and yeah, that's pretty much about the post model. So let's show that post model. Let's declare in the fetch loader, post fetch loader state. So I will say final list, right? So that list will be dynamic because we will get the key value dynamic data from the API. So, and then I would say post, right? And so for the final, we will have to declare constructor, right? So that constructor, if you don't want to declare dynamic, what you can do is you can create the from JSON method factory in the post model. It will convert the dynamic JSON key value into the model like post model class structure object. So if you want to, I will show you here FACTOR factory. So we use factory class and then post model dot from JSON method. There is a from JSON, and then inside here we have to use map because it's like key value, and then string and dy and the MSC dynamics. That string is represent the key, that key, right? So that one is dynamic because we don't know that, because that value will be always changing, you know. That key is for sure a string, and then we will have like we will call JSON, right? Of course it's a JSON, and then under here we have to return return and return return, yes, return the post model class. So inside that post model class we have three attributes, right? ID, so that ID will be coming from JSON, let's say ID like that, oops, ID, and title will be JSON title, and body will be JS1 body. So perfect. Now we just created the post model from JSON using the factory. Okay, so by doing that you can change without using dynamic. You can say post model. Okay, a list of post model will be returned, but to get, okay, so I will show you in the BLoC. To get that data we need to call that post event in here, right? So when you call that post event in the fetching post event, when you trigger in here, it will emit the state. So if I say, let's say if I say I have to emit, right? So I will say post fetch loading. First of all, I mean not loaded, fetch loading, right? So if it is that loading, we will show loading indicator in here. After that, I will use try. I recommend try use catch, because if it is you have a error, it will stop for you. If not, it will be, you know, consuming your memory. So it's not good for the device performance, app performance. So I will use final, and then I will say post, and that part I will show you. That part I will comment for now. We will fetch, okay, from API, and then we will get the post, and we will emit, right? Emit to the post loaded, right? So that post loaded will be holding the post. So that post will be getting from the API. So we haven't written yet, but we will come into it later. And then I will emit another one, which is called post error state, right? Post fetch error state. We will get the error here, right? E, we can say E. I will say string, yeah. So in here, I have to return string. Perfect. So for the API, I would create the API service, which is called, I will create API, and then enter the API folder. So I will create the API underscore service.dart. So I will create class API service. Under here, I will create the method which will be fetching the API and returning a list of API using future, right? So future, I will say list post model, right? So we will return our post model, list of post model, and then I would create the using the asynchronous function. So let's say fetch fetch posts fetch method, and then asynchronous function. Inside here we will say final resp1sc response, final response equal to await. Of course we have to use HTTP, and then I will import HTTP package from the pub.dev. So now I have got my package inside the pub.yaml. After I import it, as you see, HTTP is there, so I can import here package HTTP http.dar as HTTP. Perfect. HTTP. So I will say await HTTP get method. I will use get method because we don't send any data through the URL. We just using get method. So URI dot parsc paste, and then I will copy that URL, right? That URL. So we will fetch the data from that URL. We tell the server, we tell the application, okay, go and get the data from that URL, and then we got the response. That response has a body, right? So so from that body, I would say there is a like server return the code. Let's say if it is 200, it means that our server respond the value success return response is 200, right? So if I say if resp respond dot static go equal 200, 200, and I will return JSON response. Return JSON first of all, we have to convert these JSON value into the right. So I will say list dynamic dynamic. We got the list dynamic from the data, JSON data. That's why I call JSON response equal JSON decode, right? So we have to decode the JSON that we got from the server. Like I said, we have response resp response dot body. Perfect. Now we got our JSON response as a list dynamic, but we have to convert it using the factory from JSON that we just created in the model. So let's say return. I will return JSON response dot using the map. Okay, so when we use map, we can convert the JSON key value data into the model format that we want. So we can say right now is post model. So inside the post model model dot from JSON, we have a from JSON method, right? So we can pass the JSON, and then we have to pass a list because we're returning a list here. Okay, dot to list. Perfect. Now we got our return list future, but we have to return the as value as an error. Okay, we can say throw exception, right? So we can say fail to fetch data. So we got our exception and the data list. Perfect. So we just created our API class. So we will consume that API class, enter the BLoC post BLoC here. So I was uncomment here, and then I will create the object of that API class we just created. So I will say API service, and then API service and API service. So we have our object from that, and I would say try post this one await. I will use asynchronous function, asynchronous await API service dot fetch post. So after we fetch, we got the post. So that posts are holding a list of post model, right? So we will we will use that block in our post screen, but I will delete all the counter code that we just copy from the blog post to show the. Okay, so now material app. So inside the block provider here, we don't have any more counter qubit. We just have a post block, right? So that post blocks will be asking to fetch the data. That's why I use add and then fetch event. Okay, that event will be triggered automatically when we open the app. That's why it is created automatically for you, and that counter page will create the post screen. So that post screen will be created under the post screen. So I will say statelet and then post screen. So now we got our post screen. So that post screen should need to be imported in here. So that block provider is fetching post event. Okay, after that, if it will have like emit 3 state. The first one is loading, the second one is loaded, and the third one, if it is error, we will emit the error. So we will show these state in the UI. That's why I just warp with the block provider, and I created the post event trigger, and then I call as a child is the post screen. So inside the screen, we should have the scaffold, right? That scaffold, we have the app bar. So I will say app bar title will be test Flutter BLoC, let's say. So if I refresh, as you see, Flutter BLoC, and then inside here I will say body. So that body will have a block beta, right? So we have block consumer, block listener, as I mentioned earlier, but right now we'll use block beta because we don't need to listen any other things. And then inside here I will say block beta and context and the state, and we'll return like that. Okay, let me show you very clear. Inside the body I will return, okay, list view. Let's say list view. Okay, that list view, we will every block provider will has a block beta. Like I mentioned earlier, we have block listener, consumer, and provider. Beta. So here work with block beta. So every block beta should block beta. Oops. Why it is warping the body? Yep. Block beta. Okay, so now it's correct. So block beta. So block beta should have a post block and post state. STAT post state. So now we have our state. Every state, let's say we have to validate. There are 3 states. That's why we can use if state. STAT state is post loading. Okay, post fetch loading. We can say loading. If it is loading, we will show return the circular progress indicator. So that will be showing, loading. And then if, as if, you can say as if state is post loaded, fetch loaded. So we have data, right? In there, in that state, we have a data, right? So we will show a list. So we will return list view at this time. And then if it is, we have an error, right? As if state is post fetch error, we will say return test, and then we can say there is an error, right? So in that state dot error is declared inside that fetch error state here as an error. And finally we can say return as a default sidebox. Perfect. So sidebar is we are showing like that, nothing. Okay, so now I will refresh. So as you see, we have a loading. So I can send that loading in the sender, warping with the sender widget, and I will refresh. So as you see, it's loading here in the standard. So let's say we were declare our data like final post equal to state, right? State dot post. We have a list of posts in here. So we got our data in here. So list view dot beta, using that beta, we don't need to use for loop or something. So it's already written for us. So list view dot beta, I will create item beta, okay, and context index. So we have our index, and then we can return list title. So in that, I would create title, title title. So I will hold the text. Inside here, I will say post index dot, and I will say title. So we got our first list title. If I refresh, as you see, we got our title, right? So let me show you the same blah 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 blah. This is nonsense title, and this is just a just a placeholder test. So you are seeing that's this title there, right? So if I say subtitle as a body, post index dot body. So if I refresh, so as you see, we got our title and the body. So what you can do, you can swap with the not standard, with the cart. Let's say cart. So you got separated cart, and you can even pattern. You can even play around like using pattern. And so you got your title and the body of the post, right? So when you scroll, you have a lost. So this is the using BLoC, like we are using UI. It's very simple and well organized. That's why BLoC is really useful when you create the Flutter application. I really recommend for the state management, please use BLoC. So this is really nice. And for the perfect, for the Hive, we have to import Hive and Hive Flutter. Okay, so this Hive and Hive Flutter. Okay, after that, for the Hive, I will go to the post model. Okay, here. So let me show you very clearly. I will show you what is, first of all, like I said, Hive can store the data like key value. That's why it is very useful for the fetching the data from the JSON like that. So first of all, like I have to I will generate, I don't want to write the Hive generator class, Hive file for that. So I can use part post underscore model dot gmain generate dot dart. So you have to use the same name, right? Post model dot g dot dart, and then every Hive has a type ID. So for the class, we can say Hive type. Hive type. Okay, this one will be 0. So you cannot define the same Hive ID, type ID. So you should have like another one, for example, category. You should Hive type say 1, like that. And for the attribute, you have Hive fee. So I would say Hive fee. Okay, this one will be 0, and another one will be, of course, 1, and another one will be 2. So you have 3 Hive fee. Perfect. And then you just need to do that. And what we will do is let's say Hive Flutter Hive GNEITOR Flutter Hive generator. Okay, so we have to import that Hive generator if you don't want to if you don't want to write the Hive file, so I will add Hive generator. So it will add Hive generator under the best-better gen file like Hive generator. So after that, you have to run okay, let me show you Flutter BLoC package. You have to run Flutter packages but run build. So that will generate a Hive post model for you. Okay, so if I run like that, build runner. So I think you have to have a build runner under the dependency DV dependency. So we should have build runner. Okay, so if you don't have, I think you can run that command. Let me go and check. Yeah, so now it's generating a runner for you. If you found that error like me, you should have a build runner under the dependency, right? DV dependency, I mean. Post model.dar. Okay, contain the following. Let me go and check. Okay, we should have like that, of course. And I will clear and I will rerun again. Perfect. Now it will generate a post underscore model.generate.dar. Inside here, you will see if you don't use Hive generator, you have to write this code by yourself. That's why I don't want to write that code by myself. So I just use generator. It's generated for me and it saves a lot of your time. But for the first time, I would recommend you to write by yourself so you will understand the code very clearly. So later on you can use the generator, so it saves a lot of your time. Great. So for that, I will register every Hive. You have to register. Every Hive has a box, right? So you have to register a box. Let's say in the main.app. So main, I will create like that. Oops, I will create like that. So inside the main function, I will say widget 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 Flutter binary dot initialize. So ensure initialize. So we will create like that, and also I will say using asynchronize, because we should have an asynchronous function for the Hive, and await I would say Hive dot init. So we have to initiate all the time Hive Flutter. So by doing that, our application know that, oh, you are using the Hive for that application, right? So and then we will have we need to register Hive dot register adapter. We have to register all the time, right? So that's adapter is post model adapter, right? So we just create a post model adapter here class. That's it generated. So we have that adapter need to be registered at the first of our application, and then after we have to say await Hive.open box. As I mentioned, every Hive you should have a box. So that box will have a post, right? Post box. We can say post model, and then inside here we can name anything you want. For me, I will say post because it's a post. Perfect. Now you just open a box, and then so when we should store the data, when you fetch inside the BLoC, you got the post. At this time, you can store the data. Let's say I have to open the box. Let's say bar box equal await Hive dot open box. So at this time, I will open the post model, right? Post model of the name that you give earlier. It should be the same. It might be the same. For bar, I will loop, right? Loop all the posts in the post, and then I will store one by one. inside the box put post dot id. It is the key, right? So it is key value id, and the value will be the single post of that id. So by doing that, it will be storing all the posts with the key value of its id and the value as a post object, right? So after that, we will pass the post. Perfect. So now, okay, so now I rerun the application from start. So if I turn off the Wi-Fi, okay, so I think I need to disconnect it from my actual device. So if I disconnect it, I would refresh. If I refresh the page, as you see, the error returned because we validated the post fetch error in the UI, right? So at this time, I don't want to do like that. I don't want to show that error, so I can show my data in the Hive. So how can I do that? It's very straightforward. You can go to the blog post, and then what you can do is you could say right now, so I will not pass the error. I will pass the var box equal await. Okay, so we will use await asynchronous. Oops, a s y and c. I mean catch, yeah, await. For the catch, we don't need to. Sorry, my bad. So we'll say hive dot open box, and then we will say post model, and we'll open our box, posts post. So we got our box. At this time, we will say if box is not empty, right? It's not empty. We will say list post model, and then we will say catch CACHE. This is cat post, and then box dot value values dot to list. We will change to the list, right? So then we got our list of the catch post from the Hive database, right? So we will emit emit. At this time, we would emit post loaded. I mean full fetch loaded with the catch post that we got, right? So now if it is box is not empty, I mean as we would emit the error message. So if I refresh the page, as you see, there is no internet, but there is no error message because we have all the cache posts in the box of the Hive. That's why, you know, even there is no internet, we can stay fetch the post. So this is pretty much about the lesson. I hope you will learn the block of the Flutter state management, and you will also learn the Hive, how to store the data, how to generate the Hive class file. So I hope you will really enjoy and learn something from me. If you are really enjoying and learn something from me, please support me and subscribe my channel, so I will keep going and creating that awesome contents for you free. So thank you so much.